Every morning, billions of people perform the same ritual, a comforting habit that feels like waking up itself. The warm cup, the familiar aroma, the promise of alertness rising with the steam. You've been told it energizes you. You've felt it work, haven't you? That first sip that seems to pull you from the fog of sleep into the clarity of day. But what if I told you that this very drink, this loyal companion of your mornings, might be the reason you feel drained by noon? What if the energy it promises is borrowed, not given? What if, beneath the surface of that comforting ritual, your body is quietly paying a price you never agreed to? This isn't about demonizing what you love. It's about understanding what's really happening inside you, Because the human body doesn't lie. It keeps perfect records, and those records tell a story most people never hear. Let me take you inside that story. Picture your body as an ancient city, one that's been standing for millennia, governed by rhythms older than civilization itself. This city runs on precise timing. Before the sun rises, certain gates open. Hormones flood the streets like merchants preparing for the day. Cortisol, your natural awakening, hormone surges in a beautiful, orchestrated wave called the cortisol awakening response. It peaks within 30 to 45 minutes of waking, designed by millions of years of evolution to bring you into full consciousness. Naturally, your body already knows how to wake up. It's been doing this since before you had language to describe it. But then, you introduce the drink. Coffee, tea, espresso, cappuccino, whatever form it takes. The active agent is the same, caffeine. And caffeine is a master of disguise. It doesn't actually give you energy. It can't. No substance can create energy from nothing that would violate the laws of thermodynamics. Instead, caffeine does something far more clever, and far more costly. It blocks the signals that tell you you're tired. Here's how it works. While you sleep, your brain produces a molecule called adenosine. Think of adenosine as the voice of your cellular fatigue, the quiet accumulation of all the work your neurons have been doing. Throughout the day, adenosine binds to receptors in your brain, like keys fitting into locks. And when enough of these locks are filled, you feel sleepy. It's a beautiful systema molecular feedback loop that says, you've worked enough. It's time to rest and repair. But caffeine, caffeine has the same shape as adenosine. It fits into those same receptors, but it doesn't turn the lock. It just blocks the keyhole. Suddenly, your brain can't hear the signal that you're tired, even though adenosine keeps building up in the background, piling higher and higher like unread messages in an inbox you've ignored. You feel alert, awake, sharp, but you're not more energized. You're just unaware. And here's where the story gets more interesting and more troubling. That morning coffee you drink within the first hour of waking, it collides directly with your cortisol awakening response. Your body was already releasing the most powerful natural stimulant it has. But instead of letting that wave carry you into the day, you introduce an artificial jolt, and your body, intelligent as it is, begins to learn. Why produce so much cortisol if the caffeine is going to do the job anyway? Over time, your natural awakening response begins to dull. The body adapts. It always adapts. And now you need the coffee just to feel normal. Just to reach the baseline of alertness you used to have for free. This is called tolerance. And it happens faster than most people realize. But there's a second, deeper cost. One that plays out in the hidden architecture of your cells. Your adrenal glands, small walnut-sized organs sitting atop your kidneys, are the source of your cortisol. They're designed to respond to stress, to danger, to the demands of survival. When you flood your system with caffeine every morning, especially on an empty stomach, your adrenals interpret this as a signal. Something urgent is happening. We need to mobilize energy now, so they release more cortisol, more adrenaline. They push your body into a state of sympathetic activation, the fight or flight mode that's meant for short bursts of intensity, not hours of chronic stimulation. And here's the cruel irony. Cortisol, in the right amounts and at the right times, is your friend. It helps you wake up. It mobilizes glucose. It sharpens focus. But when cortisol is chronically elevated, when it's no longer rising and falling in its natural rhythm, but instead staying high, jagged, dysregulated, it becomes destructive. It breaks down muscle. It impairs memory. It disrupts your sleep architecture. It interferes with insulin sensitivity, making it harder for your cells to absorb glucose. It signals your body to store fat, particularly around your midsection, where it becomes metabolically active and inflammatory. You wanted energy, but you've triggered a stress response. And the crash. That afternoon slump that makes you reach for another cup, another jolt, another hit of borrowed wakefulness. That's not random. That's adenosine. The molecule you've been blocking all morning, finally flooding your receptors the moment the caffeine wears off. It's not just normal tiredness. It's amplified tiredness, the biological debt coming due all at once. So you drink more. Another coffee at 2, maybe a third at 4. You tell yourself you're staying productive, staying sharp, but your nervous system is now in a state of chronic overstimulation. Your heart rate variability, the measure of your body's ability to adapt to stress begins to decline. Your deep sleep stages, the ones where your brain detoxifies and your cells repair, become fragmented. You're trading tomorrow's energy for today's alertness. And every day, the interest on that loan gets a little higher. Let's go deeper. Let's talk about what this does to your mitochondria, the tiny powerhouses inside every cell of your body. These ancient structures, once free-living bacteria that merged with our ancestors billions of years ago, are responsible for producing ATP, the actual currency of cellular energy. Mitochondria thrive on rhythm. They expect periods of activity and periods of rest. They expect nutrients to arrive in a steady, predictable flow. But caffeine, especially when consumed first thing in the morning without food, creates a metabolic whiplash. Your blood sugar spikes. Insulin is released to manage it. Then, as the caffeine blocks adenosine and ramps up cortisol, your liver is told to release more glucose into your bloodstream, glucose you didn't eat, glucose that's being pulled from your reserves. Your mitochondria are forced to work harder, burning through fuel at an unsustainable rate, while simultaneously being deprived of the raw materials they need to repair themselves. Over months and years, this chronic overstimulation can lead to mitochondrial dysfunction. Your cells produce less energy. They produce more oxidative stress-free radicals that damage DNA, proteins, and cellular membranes. You start to feel ... older, slower, more fatigued, even though you're drinking more caffeine than ever. The drink that promised energy has become the thing stealing it from you at the source. Now ... I want to be clear. This isn't a story about caffeine being evil. It's not. Caffeine, used wisely, can be a powerful tool. The science shows it can enhance focus, improve physical performance, and even offer neuroprotective benefits in moderate doses. But timing matters. Context matters. Respect matters. The problem isn't caffeine itself. It's how we've been taught to use it. First thing in the morning, on an empty stomach, before our natural cortisol has even peaked. Multiple times a day, chasing a feeling we've forgotten how to create on our own. Using it as a band-aid for poor sleep, poor nutrition, poor stress management. We've turned a tool into a crutch, and the body always knows the difference. So what does wisdom look like here? What does respect for your biology look like? It starts with waiting. Just 90 minutes. Let your cortisol do its job first. Let your body wake itself up the way it was designed to. When you finally do have that coffee, if you choose to pair it with food, give your mitochondria the nutrients they need. Protein, healthy fats, something substantial that stabilizes your blood sugar and protects your gut lining from the acidity. And then, consider taking days off. Let your adenosine receptors clear. Let your adrenal glands rest. Let your tolerance reset. You might feel sluggish for a day or two, that is the adenosine backlog finally being processed, but on the other side of that, you'll rediscover what natural energy feels like. You'll remember that your body already has everything it needs. Because here's the truth that no one tells you. The deepest energy doesn't come from stimulation. It comes from alignment. It comes from honoring your circadian rhythm. From sleeping in true darkness and waking with light. From moving your body in ways that build mitochondria instead of depleting them. From eating foods that nourish rather than inflame. From giving your nervous system permission to rest. Truly rest. So that when it's time to engage, you have reserves to draw from. The morning drink isn't your enemy, but the way you've been using it, the desperation, the dependence, the override of your body's signals, that's where the cost accumulates. Your body is not a machine that needs constant fuel. It's an ecosystem that needs rhythm. It's a symphony that needs space between the notes. It's a fire that needs tending, not dousing with gasoline every few hours. Imagine waking up tomorrow without that immediate reach for the cup. Imagine feeling the natural rise of alertness as your cortisol peaks, as sunlight touches your eyes, as your cells remember their ancient instructions. Imagine the afternoon without the crash, without the fog, without the second guessing of every choice you made that morning. Imagine energy that doesn't fade by 2 o'clock, because it was never borrowed in the first place. That's not a fantasy. That's biology working the way it was meant to, and it's available to you the moment you stop overriding it. The common morning drink doesn't drain your energy because it's inherently harmful. It drains your energy because we've forgotten how to listen. We've forgotten that the body speaks in whispers, not demands. And when we silence those whispers with stimulation, when we cover up fatigue, instead of addressing its root, we lose touch with the very signals that could guide us back to vitality. So maybe the question isn't whether you should drink coffee. Maybe the question is, what is your body trying to tell you when it feels like it can't wake up without it? That's the question worth sitting with. That's the question that leads to real energy. The kind that lasts, the kind that comes from within. And when you find that, when you reclaim your natural rhythm, you won't need to borrow energy anymore. You'll simply have it, because you always did.